So I guess I'll report on how she did. And I'm just going to clean off these numbers today, this morning. Wow, that comes off a lot harder than I thought it would. So the races went pretty well. I gotta get something a little more stout than that. So problems I had was the 2-3 shift. I was basically granny shifting the whole time. Well, not really horribly granny shifting. I was shifting pretty fast, but I was letting off on the gas. I wasn't power shifting or speed shifting, whatever you want to call it. I always call it speed shifting on the motorcycle. But I was afraid or worried about my 2-3 shift because I'd been having problems making that shift confidently. The gates are so tight that I just, sometimes I'd go 2 to 5. But for sure, every time I made that shift, there was a bit of a stutter because I was fighting that gate on the tranny. Boy, I still don't have that clean. Almost. Okay. So I got to make 4 runs off the top of my memory here. I was disappointed in the performance. Didn't even break 100 miles an hour. Top speed was 97. And my quickest ET was 14 and a half. My best tree was 0.03 of a second. So I was hitting the tree really good, but I had a horrible 60-foot time. 2 seconds. Sometimes 2.1. So Betsy just didn't have traction. I couldn't give it any throttle off the line. So basically what I was doing was I just had the motor idling and just whoop, clutch out, and I didn't sidestep the clutch because that was just pointless. It was just clutch out, throttle in as a fluid movement, and it would just squawk a little bit and take off, but of course the RPMs are really low, and so it's just slugging off the line. And I tried dropping the tire pressure to see if I could hit it with a little more RPM on the whole shot, and I got the hops going on, which why would I have spring wind-up hops going on when I've got traction bars on there? It should just traction bars should stop the wind-up, but it sure as heck didn't. So rather than fight the hops, I just put the tires back up to normal pressure so they just squeal instead, and kept going that way. So after 4 runs, nothing improved. In fact, it just kept getting worse. So no decent hole shot. The part that I was disappointed about was that the car is like almost 10 miles an hour slower and half a second off of the ET that it ran previously. And I'm wondering, how could the motor runs really good and it feels really strong. How in the heck can it be off by that much and be running as good as it is? I'm just flabbergasted. I mean, okay. Okay, I know you guys will call me on this. Yeah, I weigh 40 pounds more, and the car probably weighs 100 pounds more. So that's costing me 14 horsepower at my power to weight ratio. But still, half a second and 10 miles an hour, that just doesn't make sense to me. I guess that's about it. Let's get on to what's going on today. One of the things that happened was on the way home from the strip, the upper control arm started squeaking again. So that means I have got to do my rework of these upper control arms that, my design. I don't know if you remember this, but I have struggled with the upper control arms quite a bit. And it turns out that all of my testing and all of my iterations of design were faulty because of bad ball joints. The ball joints were binding. So every decision I made, every conclusion that I drew from the testing that I did, none of it is valid. Zero. And probably, if the ball joints had been good, the very first iteration would have worked fine. Then I'll be cutting apart and redesigning the control arms because I've decided that they were designed originally for 4 degrees of caster, and I want 2.5 and 3. So I'm going to cut it all apart, reposition the ball joints so that they are designed for that caster. So when they're put back in the car, the pivot points for the upper control arm are back where they belong in the factory position and will track squarely to the lower control arm. And I'm actually going to make them about 1/4 of an inch longer than OEM to make up for the Shelby drop, because when you drill the holes down lower, it pulls the control arm in. So the control arm needs to be longer in order to get the camber right. Now, normally you wouldn't do that if you were building a race car because you want that negative camber. But I don't want that negative camber. I want the wheels straight up and down because this is the driver. Anyway, that's enough of me talking. I'll just clean the other window here and get to it. I don't know how much of this I'm going to shoot. You guys, if you really want to see me reworking the control arms, you can go back and look at the past videos. I'll leave a link down in the description for you. I'm not going to tear the car apart until I've got these things done, and then I'll just swap them out. I really wish these control arms would have lasted longer without squeaking, but pretty much what that means is on my road trip back east, I wouldn't make it halfway there, and they would start squeaking. So I just, no, I don't want to do that. So it's time to step up and get this part of it done. I still got this whole road trip I want to do, but I want the car to be working really well. I am going to be doing some more test and tune. I got another one coming up in a couple of weeks. Okay, Don. Yeah, I'm rambling too much. Stay tuned, and away we go. So here we go again, cutting some steel and making new plates for the ball joints to bolt up to. Angle has to be kept the same, but the position of it is different, and it's further away from the pivot point, and so the ears on the arm need to be redone. So it's basically doing this whole chore of redesigning these things, doing it again like I did before. You can always go back and look at how I did it before. I did a lot more detailed video the first time, but here you get to see it. Here's how far I've gotten on these here control arms, getting them reworked. So you can see how much the ball joint is being offset. 345 thousandths on the driver's side and 414 thousandths on the passenger side. Plus, they are moved outboard 5/16 of an inch. That's to help make up for the fact that I have a Shelby drop, and now the arms are on an angle and they need more length, and also so that I don't need as many shims. I mean, I used to have a stack of shims in there like that, so now it'll just be normal amount of shims. just 3 or so, and they're all already set up for 3 degrees of caster on the passenger side, 2.5 on the driver's side. So they shouldn't take a lot of angle difference in order to try to pick up caster. Anyway, that's what I'm doing, is reworking these suckers. The other thing I'm doing, these are the replacement ball joints I got from Moog. And what I'm doing here, as you can see, there are shims around where the bolts are. The whole point being that what I'm trying to do is prevent the bolts from warping the ball socket when they're tightened. Because what they do, after it's all stamped and everything, they set the end play on the ball by the spacing between these two pieces of, between the two halves. Problem is, there's nothing supporting those two halves out beyond that center piece that's in there that sets the end play. And then they stamp it and weld it like that right there. And all of that bows the ball socket. So I have to take the bow out here so that the bolts don't warp the ball socket, and then shim at the bolts so that it won't warp there either. And then consequently, it should just bolt up square and not distort the ball socket, and then these ball joints will work fine. Anyway, that's my that's what I got figured, and I'm sticking to it. At this point, I'm tacking the plates in their proper position, and I'm going to try to get them both equal and measure and make sure that I've got the angle right. It looks like I've got it fitted pretty well. I'm grinding the welds and everything, so I'm just trying to finish them up. Jeez, I'm noticing that I'm throwing sparks in my face. I guess it's a good thing I wear glasses. Oop, I'm throwing them at the camera too. I try not to do that. One thing I'm doing differently this time is I'm grinding more of a relief in the plate for around the ball socket of the ball joint. Trying to, anything I can do to make sure that the arm does not warp the ball socket and make it bind. So now I'm just putting the little, well, what should we call it, a hat that goes over the top of the ball joint, and its purpose, of course, is to be the part of the arm that hits the bump stop. This is as far as I got today. I got the passenger side all welded up and ready. Excuse me. All right, so now I'm working on the driver's side. Slightly different dimensions, so everything's custom. Like I said before, this is really a drag that I have to do all of this work a second time. All right, now what I'm doing is dressing off the shafts where I'd welded the bolts through, making sure that I have them centered, and putting the shorter original OEM bolts back into the arms. That should finish off these here control arms. I really hope these here replacement Moog ball joints are good. But whole new setup, caster setup for what I've discovered I like in terms of handling in the car. So at this point, all I'm doing is just cleaning up this hell of a mess. Oh, excuse me. This heck of a mess that I made. The whole redesign, start to finish, 3 days. What I'm looking forward to is having squeakless suspension. Is this the completion of the modification of these control arms? No. The one thing that I didn't do, or haven't done yet, and I'm still hemming and hawing about that, is the conversion over to Delrin bushings. I started working on this shaft here because it's one of the old ones that came out of the car when I first tore Betsy down. But there's something to be said for the next guy that comes along that owns this thing after me. If he needs a ball joint, he just needs to order ball joints for a 66 Mustang and they will fit and work perfectly. Same with the upper control arm bushings. You just order factory parts, put them in, and you're good to go. And there's something to be said for that. So I decided I would leave them on and get them on the road and see how I like the way the car handles. I'll just keep cleaning up here and let you guys go. You don't have to watch me do that. Thanks for watching Don's Manufactory. Catch you later.